Okay, good morning, students. Let's start with the chapter Silk Road. What is Silk Road? The Silk Road was a road which was used by the Chinese travelers and a businessman when they used to trade with India through a road which is known as Silk Road. You must have read in a history Silk Route, through which the businessmen of China and other used to come to trade or do business with Indian merchant. But here, Silk Road basically is chapter about a Kora or a pilgrimage or a holy journey to Mansarovar. The writer Nick Middleton is going to describe or narrate about his journey to Mansarovar. Clear? Mansarovar, as you know, it is in Tibet, but it is under the occupation of China. China has occupied it, and going to Mansarovar, it's not a very easy. They have to climb the terrain, the mountains, and they have to go through those passes. So when we go up the heights and all, we face lots of physical problems. Nose bleeding is there, headache is there, your ears will pain, your eyes will pain, and then there is a sudden change in weather condition also. Right now, the weather might look very pleasant, calm, and all of a sudden there would be a heavy rainfall or a snowfall. Mount Kailash, which is there in Mansarovar, and we Hindu mythology, in mythology, and also we believe that Mount Kailasha is an abode or a home of Lord Shiva. So people they go to Mansarovar to take a dip in a lake which is known as Mansarovar Lake. So let's see the chapter and let's find it out what were the problems that Nick Middleton was facing or had faced while he was going on a journey to Mansarovar. It's called Kora. A flawless half moon. Flawless means without any kind of, you can say, spot. Half moon, moon was in a half shape, floated in a perfect blue sky on the morning. We said a goodbye. Extended banks. Banks means the river, the corner of the river of clouds like long French lobes glowed pink as the sun emerged to splash, spread the distant mountain top with a rose tinted blush. So morning time, the sun was coming out. It was shining it was looking very beautiful. And it was just looking like a French loaf. Loaves are of bread, like pav bhaji or lambe se, like hot dogs and all the breads. Now that we are leaving Ravu, it's a place, Lamo said she wanted to give me a farewell present. One evening, I had told her through Daniel that I was heading towards Mount Kailash to complete the Kora. And she had said that I ought to get some warmer clothes because this lady, she knew very well that what would be the weather and the condition when this writer will be going for Kora. And this writer was carrying along with him a Daniel, a man, you can say he was an interpreter who knew Tibetan and Chinese language because this author was not knowing any language, where the a language of that place where he was visiting. After ducking back means going inside, then into a tent, she emerged. She came out carrying one of the long sleeve sheepskin coat that all the men wore. When she went inside her tent and came out, she was having a coat which was made of sheepskin. And every man over there, they were wearing that coat because it was very cold. So the sheepskin is going to keep them warm. And this Lamon, the lady, the people who are there living in Tibet, is it clear? Or in and near the Mansarovar, they are known as lamas. So this lady has knew very well that in his journey, this narrator is going to need this what? A coat. Seaton sized me up as we clambered into his car. So he was also carrying a driver whose name was Seaton. Ah, yes, he declared, Dorcas, sir, we are going to Drogba. We took a shortcut to get off the Changpan. Sitan knew a route that would take us southwest, almost directly toward Mount Kailash. Sitan was a local person and he was a driver, so he knew very well he was, you can say, well aware about the route of the Mount Kailash. It involved crossing several fairly high mountain passes. Passes means the passage between two mountains, that is called passes, जिसे हम हिंदी में बोलते हैं दर्रा. रोहतांग पास. Is it clear? Nathula Pass. It means the passage between two mountains. दो पहाड़ों के बीच में जो रास्ता जाता है उसे हम बोलते हैं passes. But no problem, sir, he assured us. If there is no snow, we will be able to drive smoothly. What was the likelihood of that, I asked, not knowing, sir, until we get there. From the gently rolling hills of Ravu, they were going to Ravu, the shortcut took us across a vast open plain with nothing in them except a few gazelles. Gazelles are the kind of deers that would look up from Nimling. Nimling means they were eating the grass. The arid pasture. Arid means dry. Pastures means a field where the grasses grow. And frown means anger before bounding away into a void. Means they saw the gazelles, they were nibbling the grass. The area surrounded over the Ravu was a deserted area. You can say there was no vegetation. Only little green pasture could be seen, that the green grass could be seen. So these gazelles, they were eating, but they were very angry when they saw the car passing through them. So once they saw that the vehicle was coming towards them, they ran away into the empty space. Further over, where the plains became more stony than grassy, a great herd means group of wild ass. As you know, yes, donkey, came into view. Sitan told us we were approaching them long before they appeared. Fine, he said, pointing towards the far off wall of dust. So this herd of wild ass, they were running, and when they were running, behind them there was a dust. You can say a cloud of dust was following them. When we drew near, I could see the herd. Herd means those group of wild ass. They were galloping, jumping, wheeling, turning it tight formation as if they were practicing maneuver. Maneuver means when you change the direction all of a sudden on some predetermined course. Plumes of dust. Plumes hote hain feathers, but here the cloud of dust billowed into the crisp, clean air. The whole clean air was filled with dust, the way the wild ass were jumping, galloping, and turning. As hills started to push up once more from the rocky wilderness, means as they were going up, now they could see the little vegetation and most of the place they were covered with rocks. We passed solitary Dorcas tending their flocks. So there were some people who were known as Drogbas and they were looking after their animals. Flocks means animal. Sometimes men, sometimes women. These well-wrapped figure would pause, means stop. These men and women who were working, but when they saw some vehicle passing by them, they would stop, stare at a car, occasionally waving us as we passed. When the track took us close to their enemy, the sheep would take evasive action, veering away, moving away from the speeding vehicle. We passed through nomads' dark nets. Who are the nomads? The nomads are the people who move along with their animals, and wherever they find the water and the food, they pitch their tent. Once their food and water supply finish up, again they move out from that place and go in search of food and water. Is it clear? They are known as nomads. So we pass nomad dark tent pitched. Pitch means held in splendid isolation. Means nothing was there except the nomad tents could be seen in that area. Usually they were having a huge black dog, a Tibetan Mastiff, a kind of variety or a breed of dog. They were known as Tibetan Mastiff. Standing guard. So there the nomads were having a dog that was Tibetan Mastiff, whose breed was a Tibetan Mastiff breed, and they were guarding the tent and the animals of the nomads. These beasts, means dog, would cock their great big head when they became aware of approach and fix it in their sight. So narrator is saying when the dog sees us, they fix our picture into their eyes. As we continue to draw closer, they would explode into action, means by shout, barking, jumping, following, speeding directly towards like a bullet from a gun and nearly as fast. So when they saw this Tibetan Mastiff, they saw the approaching vehicle of the narrator, they barked and they tried to run after that vehicle. These shaggy monsters means these dogs, blacker than the darkest night. They were so black that they could be compared with a dark night, a night which could not be darker than that. Usually wore bright red collar and barked furiously with massive jaws. Their jaws were very massive, big. Anybody, if they see this Tibetan Mastiff, they would scared. They were completely fearless of a vehicle, shooting straight into a path, causing Seaton to break and sweat. So they were just running after the vehicle of the author or the narrator, and Seaton, the driver, was finding it difficult to drive. The dog would make chase for 100 meters or so before easing off, before giving up. I have having seen us of the properly. It wasn't difficult to understand why ferocious means dangerous Tibetan Mastiff became popular in China's imperial court. Imperial means emperor, king court as hunting dog brought along the Silk Road in ancient time as tribute from Tibet. So why now the narrator have understood that during the ancient time, old time, these Chinese emperors or the king, they used to keep the Tibetan Mastiff dog as a guard in their palace. And these dogs were brought from the Tibet when this merchant, the Chinese merchant, they used to go for their trade. I hope till here it is clear to everyone. Let's continue. But now we could see snow-capped mountain gathering on the horizon. We entered a valley where the river was white and mostly clogged with ice, brilliant white and glinting in the sunshine. Till now, the narrator was finding a little vegetation. The area was full of dirt and dust, stony, but as they were going, they could see the mountain which was covered with snow. Even when they entered the valley, the river was covered with ice. It was shining brilliantly when the sun rays was falling on it. The trail hugged its bank, twisting with the meanders as we gradually gained height and the valley side closed in. Now, when he was climbing the height, what happened? The turn became sharper and ride bumpier. Seaton now in third gear as we continued to climb. The track moved away from icy river, laboring through steeper slopes that spotted a big rock dubbed means covered with patches of bright orange lichens. Lichens are the type of, you can say, non-green plants. Beneath the rocks, chunk of snow, clung means hanging on it in the near permanent shade. I felt the pressure building up in my ears. Yes, now the narrator was finding it difficult as they were climbing up the hill. He could hear there was a pain in his ears. He held my nose, snorted, and cleared them. We struggled around another tight bend and Seaton stopped. He had opened his door and jumped out of the seat before I realized what was going on. Snow, said Daniel as he too exited the vehicle, letting in breath of cold air as he did so. So what happened? As Seaton was climbing up the hill, all of a sudden he stopped his vehicle and jumped out of the vehicle. Same way, Daniel followed Seaton and he jumped out of the vehicle. Following Daniel, the narrator also jumped out of the vehicle because the snow was approaching them. Till here, it is clear to you. I hope it is clear to you. Tomorrow again, we are going to continue it.